Well, welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and it's always a delight to have Robin Fuller in the studio as she is with us today to make us aware of their annual event coming up, and she's with the Grants Pass Pregnancy Care Center. And Robin, I don't know, you just, you're like the energizing bunny.
Wow, thanks.
You just keep on going. All right, several things going on. Your big gala's coming up. Tell us about it.
Yes, it is. Our gala's coming up. Unlike Medford's, which you said is what, Thursday?
Thursday night. Right.
Ours is coming up on October 24, 25, and 26. We do a 3-night back-to-back event, same program each night. So you can attend either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night.
Wow, wow, wow. Okay, and where?
It's at the Tap Rock Event Center in Grants Pass.
Okay, and you have a very special speaker. In fact, we're going to interview that speaker coming up in a few moments here, but tell us about your special
Sean
speaker.
McDowell. He's the son of Josh McDowell, which many people out there in our audience have heard of.
Right.
And Sean is kind of a younger version of his dad, but he's currently getting his PhD in Christian worldview from Biola. And he's a Christian high school teacher, and he's one of the top apologists in the nation.
Yeah, I think just terrific, and we'll certainly make the point there.
Yes, we will.
All right, now part of your event this year coming up next week is something very special, October 15th, and it's a memorial service. Tell us about that.
Well, I was talking with a different pregnancy center in Las Vegas, and they started doing a few years back every year an annual citywide memorial service. And October is Infant and Pregnancy Loss Awareness Month, and October 15th is usually the day when people kind of remember the loss in their lives. So encompassing and women who have had miscarriages, maybe stillbirth, abortion. What happens is women in that situation are really grieving, but a lot of people just in our own nation really don't acknowledge there's anything to lose.
Wow.
And so it's kind of a difficult place, and we've seen it in our own center as we've done more and more ultrasounds. About 20%, some say estimates as high as 25% of pregnancies end in miscarriage. And so we see that as we're doing ultrasounds on women. There are many times when there is no heartbeat. And if this is a desperately wanted pregnancy, there's no place to grieve. Nobody deals with that issue of loss. And so we kind of took that idea and we're running with it, and we'll see what God does.
Wow.
So we're going to have just an hour-long, maybe a little longer memorial service where we invite everybody in the community. If you're even from Medford and you want to come, it's just a free event. We're just going to hear a few different stories of women who have been there and sing some songs, have some remembrances, and release some balloons at the end.
Wow. All right, that's coming up. Gee, that'll be next Tuesday, and a memorial service, and it'll be there at the Parkway Christian Center, so you may want to attend. What time is that?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. All right, let's go back to what you do for those who are tuning in, because I think that what you're doing, and of course what Cindy's doing, and I understand now you've got some activities up in the Roseburg area, the pregnancy care centers, and yours is an incredible model of what happens when you begin to care for I guess unplanned pregnancies.
Well, you know, I think as a pro-life movement in general, we really need to acknowledge that for many years, all we saw was that baby. And what is that woman really going through? And I think at our center and at other pregnancy centers, we're really dispelling the myth that all we care about is the baby. We really do care about those moms. And if we really care about her, we need to give her the information she needs so she can make a healthy decision, a good decision. And the desperate circumstances that would drive a woman to even consider abortion, that's what we need to look at. So we're not just a medical clinic, just a pregnancy center. We're dealing with the social service aspect of who she is, what's going on, how can we help her? And if she chooses abortion, make sure we're there to help her pick those pieces up, because we care about her life and her soul.
Right.
And how is she with God, and does she need a savior?
Well, now you have worked very hard because you are now a medical clinic. That's not an easy task.
No, we voluntarily entered into a 2-year process with the Accreditation Association of Ambulatory Healthcare,
Okay.
which is a big, long word. But they're the accrediting organization of the U.S. Coast Guard, of the U.S. Air Force. It's a big organization, and we wanted to make sure that we could prove we really are doing the best that we can for each patient who comes to us.
Wow.
So it was big. We're the 4th pregnancy center in the entire nation to achieve that. Wow. And many more pregnancy centers are looking at it, especially in Oregon, because of all the legislation that's been against us to try and say that we're not good at what we do and we don't know what we're doing,
right,
and we're fake medical clinics and all these other things.
Now, there was a run at the legislature last go around, and you brought to our attention how close and how serious that is. Give us an update on that.
Well, we managed to defeat Senate Bill 490 this last go around, and really, besides knowing it was God who did this, I think what managed to shut it down was a personal relationship with a lot of the legislators that had been invited into their local pregnancy centers to understand what it is we really do and to see the millions of dollars worth of care that we provide at no cost to women and moms in need. So that, I think, is ultimately what happened. It's going to come around again.
Yeah.
You know, Oregon's the #1 hotspot for all that legislative stuff. So we're working on a statewide coalition, and all the pregnancy centers throughout the state are working together, and we're trying to communicate and have everybody raise their standard of care, you know, at least to a higher level.
I saw an article today on all the headlines that we read here going into the morning news that the UK now is doing gender selection abortions.
Oh, well, they're done all the time.
Yeah, and you kind of wonder, okay, where is this going to go and lead to, you know?
Yeah, well, they're done all the time in the United States. They have been for years. Just like most people still don't want to stop and think long enough to realize that abortions happen through all 9 months of pregnancy. And they do in every state. It's, you know, the laws that they try to pass, they've all been tied up in court, and if you can't get one in your own state, you can just go across state lines, and there are physicians who will do them.
Unbelievable. And of course, we have the petition drive. We'll keep you informed on that to stop your tax dollars in the state of Oregon, because right now your tax dollars are paying for 11 abortions a day in the state of Oregon. So incredible battle, and we're in it till the end, and in some ways we're winning. Some more people are choosing not to have abortions, and what you do and you provide certainly turning a lot of lives around. But I want to come back to the Gala. It's coming up on the 24th, 25th, and 26th. How do people get tickets and how they attend?
They just need to contact the Pregnancy Care Center over in Grants Pass, 479-6264.
Okay.
Give us a call. The event's completely underwritten, so there is no charge to attend. It is our #1 fundraiser of the year, though, so there will be a financial appeal. But we'd love to have anybody who wants to come attend, and we'd love to showcase what we do with new people.
Wow.
So anybody new that wants to come, just give us a call.
All right.
I think Thursday night is pretty tight.
Really?
Friday's getting pretty tight. Saturday we still have some availability.
All right. Give them a call there at the Grants Pass Pregnancy Care Center to get to go to attend. And then don't forget, coming up next Tuesday, this is a first.
This is our first ever citywide memorial service. So it's for anybody in Grants Pass. It's a way for not only the women, but their husbands, their significant others, the fathers, the mothers, the grandparents, the aunts and uncles. Everyone can come together and remember children that have been lost.
All right. Well, again, that'll be next Tuesday, and that'll be over at the Parkway Christian Center. Well, Robin, as always, a delight to have you. And coming up in just a few moments, Paulina earlier talked to Sean McDowell, and he's going to be the keynote speaker at the Gala coming up. And I think you'll find that interview to be quite inspiring as well. So thanks for what you do, sweetheart. Hang in there.
Thank you, Perry.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Paulina, and I work at theDove TV. Did you know that when you support theDove TV, you have a profound impact, not only in our community, but around the world? It's your continued support that takes the inspiration and hope in the programs we produce and makes them available to the thousands of people who are watching these videos online every week. Help bring encouragement and hope to our valley and beyond by making a secure online donation today at our website, thedove.us.
Well, as we just had Robin Fuller, who heads up the Grants Pass Pregnancy Care Center, coming up October 24, 25, and 26 is their annual gala. And the guest speaker is going to be Sean McDowell, the son of the well-known Josh McDowell. And earlier, our Paulina had a chance to talk to him about his ministry and what he's doing and coming to Southern Oregon. So let's join Sean and Paulina.
Hi, Sean. Welcome to the Dove.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Let's start by a simple question. Why are you so passionate about defending the unborn?
Well, probably two reasons. One, the only sitting president who's written a book was Ronald Reagan. He wrote a book called Abortion and the Conscience of a Nation. And he essentially argued that if we cheapen life at the beginning or at the end, all of life and our entire culture will be cheapened. And I think he's absolutely right. If we don't care for the weakest among us, then life as a whole gets disvalued, and we're seeing that in our culture today. But second, on a more personal note, my younger sister, Heather, who's 10 years younger than I am, who is, she's adopted, so she's Hispanic. When she was about 19, 20 years old in college, she decided to go track down her birth mom. And she found her birth mom, and they have a great relationship. And one thing we learned is that my sister was actually conceived in rape. And I have always had convictions that the unborn, from the moment of conception, is a full, living, distinct human being. And then it hit me in a personal way I never anticipated, that my own sister, by the justification of many people who say, well, the unborn is not fully human, she's not wanted, she was conceived in rape, somehow that justifies taking a human life. It hit me like a dagger in my heart, and I thought, I thank God that this mom realized that every single child, no matter how he or she is conceived, is valuable because it bears the image of God.
Have you ever met that woman? Do you know what made her decide to keep the child at 14 after being raped?
You know, I have met her. My sister has a good relationship with her, in fact. And I haven't personally asked her that question. In fact, she wrote a piece on this that she posted online that I read about her. I haven't been able to have a personal conversation with her, but I think it stems from her Christian convictions, realizing this is a valuable human being, and it was a horrible circumstance, and she wouldn't wish it on her worst enemy. But why should the child have to pay a price for something that the father did? That's how she felt, and decided to keep the child. And today she just thanks the Lord that she made that decision.
Yeah, and Heather has a daughter too, right?
She has a daughter, and she now has a son who's about 1 year old, little Josh.
Wonderful. So I watched your Defending the Unborn speech, and I thought it was so powerful. I would encourage anyone to just go online and Google it, Defending the Unborn. In that video, you said, one of the things you said was that you're pro-choice. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, that's kind of a beginning that I start with to get people's attention, because I am pro-choice. I absolutely think a woman should have a right to choose who she marries, where she lives, her career. She should be able to make every single choice for her life that she wants to. I'm also pro-choice when it comes to the unborn, if the unborn is not human. If the unborn is not human and it's just tissue and it's just a bunch of cells, then no justification for abortion is necessary. But if the unborn is a living, distinct human organism from the moment of conception, then what justification is adequate? So I think men, women, all of us should have the right to make choices for our lives. I'm pro-choice until our choices result in the loss of life for somebody else, or we bring direct harm to somebody else. That's why I'm pro-choice as a whole. But when it comes to the issue of abortion, I'm strongly pro-life, because the unborn is a distinct person, a human being from the moment of conception.
How do you prove to someone that the unborn is alive, that the life actually starts at conception?
Well, the interesting thing is, if you look in any biology textbook or embryology textbook that deals with these questions, there is no debate, scientifically speaking, that the unborn is alive. There's none. The mother is alive, the father's alive, the sperm is alive, the egg is alive, and the unborn, which comes from the sperm and egg, is a living thing. And we know that because when we look at the qualifications for life, things like metabolism, biological growth, reaction to stimuli, the unborn has all of those characteristics. Now, it's different than like a snowball, which grows maybe as it's rolling down a hill accidentally because of things in the environment. The unborn grows by its very nature intrinsically if it has the right nourishment and the right environment because of the kind of thing that it is. So scientifically speaking, there is no debate that the unborn is alive. And by the way, I often hear people say, well, we don't know when life begins, so you should be able to have an abortion. And I say, time out. Even if we conceded that we didn't know when life began, then pro-life should still get the benefit of the doubt. Another example Reagan gave in his book, Abortion and the Conscience of the Nation, he said if you have a body and you're not sure if it's dead or alive, nobody would go ahead and bury it. You make sure there's no life before you bury it. And it seems to me common sense applied to the unborn. We know it's alive, but even if we didn't, we would still err on the side of protecting life.
So if you know scientifically it's proven that the unborn is alive, why do we in our society, why is it okay to kill one thing and not the other? What's wrong with that?
Yeah, that's a fair question. I think we know even a better scientific case can be made than just that it's alive. Second, we know it's distinct from the mother. It can have a separate heartbeat from about day 21 or 24, a rudimentary heartbeat. It has its own DNA fingerprint. It has its own gender. It can have its own blood type. And also, third, we know it's human because of its DNA and because it comes from mom and dad who are human. So scientifically speaking, we have a distinct living organism that is separate from the mom from the moment of conception. So there is no scientific way around that. The only way people can get around that is to say, well, the unborn is a human, but it's not a person. Or, as I saw recently in a chilling article, somebody actually made the argument. They said, well, the unborn is human, but we get to decide that some human lives are more valuable than others. We decide the unborn has less value, therefore we can have an abortion. And the moment I read that, I thought of, my goodness, we have a terrible legacy in the history of America and in the world deciding some lives that we know are human have more value than others. So I think the only way somebody can do that is to compartmentalize what we really know is true about the unborn. Or in our culture, it's just this idea that I can do whatever I want with my time and my body, even trumps human life in the case of the unborn.
Well, once we figured out that it's alive, I know a lot of people use as an argument the life of a mother. For example, in the case of a rape, people say, okay, I'm against abortion unless the mother was raped. What do you tell those people? What would be your argument against that argument?
Well, personally, if I was talking with somebody who had experienced rape and was wrestling with a choice whether they're going to keep a child or not, first thing I would do is I would cry with that person and I would hug that person and I would empathize and be there as a friend because of the trauma this person has been through. I think the Christian response is to cry with those who cry, be happy with those who are happy. So we need to show profound empathy to people who have gone through this. And yet, as the person kind of realizes the gravity of the choice that they're making, I would want to bring them back and just start to say, okay, what is this? You didn't ask for this. You're not choosing whether you're going to become a mother. You are a mother. This is an unborn living human being. One of my friends often, he puts it this way. He says, okay, how many people are involved in this circumstance? And most people say, well, 3. You have the mother, you have the man who was the rapist, and then you have the child. And then I asked the question, should we kill the mom because of what happened? Well, of course not. Should we kill the baby because of what happened? And then it kind of puts it in perspective and says, wait a minute, if this is truly a human being, as science shows us, then why should it suffer for the crimes of what the father did? So I thank God that my sister's mom, a birth mom, realized that every child has value, regardless of how they're conceived. And I'll tell you, I've met 3 people in my life who have been conceived in rape, and all 3 of them have told me the same thing. They said, oftentimes I'll hear pro-life people say, oh, I'm pro-life except in the issue of rape. And you know how one guy looked at me and he said, it feels like I've had to justify my existence my whole life because in the minds of many Christians and other pro-lifers, because I was conceived in rape, I somehow had less value. And I'll never forget that. That was his own experience.
Wow. You're so right when you talk about Christians not approaching it, right? You know, we're so quick to just start quoting scripture, just, this is the Bible, this is what the Bible say. Is that a mistake, do you think, on our part to just grab the Bible and start preaching from the Bible right away instead of reasoning people to the Bible when we talk about abortion?
Yeah, believe it or not, I think using the Bible can be a mistake on two fronts. Number one, with non-believers, it can be a mistake because they don't hold it as a source of authority, right? You might as well, if someone came to me and said, well, the Quran says this or the Book of Mormon says this, I would say, hey, great books, I've read them, but I don't hold them as a source of authority in my life in the way I do the scriptures. So for people in our secular culture, the Bible's not a source of authority. That's why I reason not from the Bible, but I reason to the Bible. So my dad always taught me, said, if something is biblical, it's true. If something is true, it's biblical. In the Bible, I think you can make an argument that it is pro-life from the moment of conception. And that matches up with what science and philosophy shows is true. So I reason with people who aren't Christians using science and philosophy and common sense. And then ultimately, I may be able to point them to show them that's what the scripture says. Second, I think we can make a mistake using the Bible when we're dealing with Christians. Only because I specifically have had some friends who have gotten pregnant in a way where they were not planning on it. And they did not need me to preach a verse at them and tell them, well, the Bible says this, get it right. They needed love, they needed compassion, they needed care. And then when the time was right, be able to talk them through the gravity of the decision they were making and bring the scriptures and science and philosophy to bear in that case.
Oh, thank you. This is great. I want to once again encourage all of you to go online, find, first of all, WorldWIde Ministries, Sean McDowell website, seanmcdowell.org, and then also Defending the Unborn. It's a wonderful speech, very powerful. And I want to end with this, Sean. I know that a lot of us understand that abortion is, it's a killing of a baby. But how do we take a stand? What do we do? Because many of us will never go to the marches. Many of us will never attend Gala events. But what can we do in our everyday life, starting now?
I would say two things. Number one is get educated. Start to understand these issues. And I think what you'll begin to realize is that something that you hold just kind of on an instinctual level, or maybe you heard it in church or read it somewhere, when you start to see the arguments and reasons behind it, you realize this isn't something we just hold on faith. This is something that's really true. And I think the case for pro-life is powerful and is clearly winning the day. So anybody listening, I urge them. I have articles on this on my website. There's great books that people can get. Educate yourself and educate your kids. That's what's critical. Second is support local crisis pregnancy centers. One of the most powerful movements in the past few decades, in particular since Roe versus Wade, are these crisis pregnancy centers that have showed up in cities all around the country that are doing the hands-on pro-life work. Yes, making the arguments, but even in a sense, more importantly, caring for mothers, making these decisions, equipping a community, and building a culture of pro-life. So if more Christians did those two things, we would make a significant advance in the pro-life movement.
We will. Thanks for being with us, Sean.
Thanks for having me. See you soon.
Well, interesting to say the least, and don't forget, he'll be the special speaker at the Gala coming up October 25th through the 27th. Well, if you were to have a conversation with a Muslim, would you know how to minister to them? Well, our next guest will give us some good ideas just how to go about that. Coming up next on Focus Today.
Hi, I'm Daniel and I work at theDove TV. You know, compared to Portland, Seattle, and LA, Medford might be considered a small market, but at theDove, we're excited about the opportunity to make a big impact right here in our community. And you help make that happen. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us now by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us, or by phoning 541-776-5368.
Well, we're delighted to welcome to Focus Today a friend in the studio. He's ministering in Southern Oregon, and we'll give you his appearance date coming up in just a few moments. But we have with us today Usama Dakdok. Did I say it right?
That's correct.
Okay, and he's the founder of Straight Way Ministries, and he was born in Egypt and grew up in a Christian home, and now he's been in the United States since 1992, and he has an incredible ministry. So welcome, my friend.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Appreciate you.
Well, tell us, what is Straight Way Ministry?
It's a ministry have a double-edged sword, as we say. First is to reach out to the American and teach them the truth about Islam, which is the most dangerous cult ever exists on planet Earth, so many Americans have no idea what Islam is all about. And the second part of our ministry is like reach out to the Muslims, because we assume in America that the Muslim world are the Arab, and all the Arab are Muslims, and they know everything about Islam. Sadly, 87% or so of the Muslims in planet Earth have never read the Quran, because they do not speak Arabic. And they are Muslim simply because they were born from a Muslim daddy. Okay. Besides that, they have no idea. So I believe if Muslim knew Islam, they will believe in Islam. The most common answer I receive from all the hundreds, but the thousands of Muslims whom I met who became a Christian, I say, what led you to Christ? What caused you to leave the religion of Islam to be a Christian? He said, I left Islam because I got to know what Islam is. So if you don't know what you believe in, you're in the bus, and the bus is moving on. But if you know the bus is going wrong direction, you get off the bus and you get the other bus to the right direction.
Did you say that 80% of Muslims are...
87%.
87% of Muslims are not Islamic?
No, they're Muslim, but they're not Muslim. Like, we talk about Iran is a Muslim country.
Okay.
We're talking about Turkey is a Muslim country.
Right.
We talk about Afghanistan, Pakistan, and all these foreign countries. People of Iran, people of Turkey have no clue what Islam is, because they never read the Quran. They don't know anything about Muhammad, their prophet. Wow. So they're Muslims because they were born from a Muslim daddy.
Okay.
But they're not Muslim because they believe in Islam. And that's how I normally, when I start ministering to Muslim, I said, when did you become a Muslim? And he said, well, I'm Muslim all my life. I was born Muslim. I said, no. When did you choose to believe in Islam and follow this religion of Islam? They have no answer. So they're Muslim because simply they were born in a Muslim family. And that's the problem.
Right, so is that the power of intimidation to hold the moderate Islamist or Muslim in place so that they don't speak out against the religion of Islam?
You're opening a big bag of worm here, or box of worm. There is no moderate Muslim.
Well,
because there is no moderate Islam.
Yeah.
The problem is not in the people. The problem is in the ideology. If you open the Quran and you read, for the last 12 years, we have been in war with radical Muslim, extreme Muslim, however people want to call it.
Right.
But if you open the Quran, you will never see one verse where the word radical was mentioned. There is Muslim believers and there's kuffar, infidels. So Muhammad was commanded by Allah, Quran 8:65, for example, chapter 8 and verse 65. O you prophet, provoke the believers to engage in war. Well, in America, we don't believe we're in war with Islam, but there are 79 verses in the Quran where Allah commands Muslim believers to engage in war with infidels, us. So you don't see the word radical anywhere in the Quran, but the word believers. That's the word Allah used. Allah calls them believers. Muhammad calls them believers. They call themselves believers. And here in America, we call them extremists. I'm sorry. No moderate Muslims because there is no moderate Islam. The idea is that there is good part of Islam and there is bad part of Islam. That's a joke. Islam is Islam.
Okay, because that clarity, I think, is in the back of a lot of people's mind, because their silence is a condonement.
Well, but see, when you say why nobody speak against the jihadis or the radical, in Islam, it's okay to lie. So this is no big deal. I can sit with you here and I can tell you, oh, I am anti this jihadist person, jihadist organization. That's a joke. Here sometimes you see maybe on some TV station like Fox News, somebody like Sean Hannity, which I love him dearly, and I've been on his show 10 times just last year on his radio program. And I tell Sean, there is no moderate Muslim. Even if you find somebody who speak against the radical, well, guess what? He's practicing taqiyya. He's practicing verses of the Quran. Muhammad taught the Muslim. Listen to this. This is what's shocking. It is lawful to lie in 3 cases. Wait a minute. A prophet telling the people it's lawful to lie in 3 cases, but listen to the 3 cases. Number 1, a man to his wife that she will be pleased with him in time of war, because war is deception. To your friends, to make peace between them. So in Islam, you can lie to your wife, you can lie to your enemies, and you can lie to your friends. I think that covers them all.
Wow.
Islam is a religion of lies. It's built on deception. So you can easily have somebody sit in my chair and you sit here and he will tell you, well, we condemn this, or we condemn that Islam is love, Islam is peace. That is also lies, which is allowed in Islam.
All right, so now let me bring this back around. how do we Christians witness to a Muslim, and how dangerous is it for them to even consider conversion?
I believe it's very easy for Christian to minister to Muslim if Christian knew two things: what Christian doctrines is, what we believe, and why we believe what we believe.
Oh, that's so
Number
true.
two,
Yeah.
if we know what Muslim believe. The problem we have with most people who are very interested to minister to Muslim people, they do not know Christianity as much as they do not know Islam. Mm-hmm. So here is a person who is a Christian, baby Christian we call them. There are those who are drinking milk, not chewing in a big meat.
Yeah.
And then they try to minister to Muslim people. So they will go to the mosque. I know some baby Christian who go to the mosque and they try hard to minister to Muslim people and they tell them about Jesus. But then when you hear what you say, it makes sense to you. Jesus loves you. He died on the cross for your sin. And if you believe in him, you can have eternal life because he can forgive you for your sins. And if you believe in the Bible, you become a Christian and you will have eternal life. This is what we Christians say and what we Christians hear. But if you know how Muslim hear the same message, you'd be shocked, because for a Muslim, if I'm a Muslim and I'm hearing this from you, I'll hear you saying that you believe in 3 gods and one of them is Jesus, and he died on the cross. The Quran said he did not die on the cross. And you believe the Bible, and the Bible teaches everything. You say every time a Christian say the Bible said to the Muslim, we as Muslim believe the Bible is corrupted. The Bible has been changed. And all what you're going to tell me about Jesus is a lie. To the Muslim, Jesus is a good teacher, a good prophet, and a good man, and that's all what you need to know. All what you need to know about him.
And that's it.
He is not the Son of God. He did not die on the cross. He never rose from the dead. Somebody else looked like him died on the cross instead of him, as Allah states in the Quran. And that is actually the great part of Satan, of the God of Muhammad, which is the God of Muhammad. Allah in Quran chapter 3 verse 45 said, Hum makru, wallahu makru, wallahu khairum makirin. They deceive and Allah deceive, and Allah is the best deceiver. And this verse interpreted to be that the Jew deceived Jesus to kill him, and Allah deceived the Jews by bringing somebody who looked like Jesus. And Allah, the God of Muhammad, is the best deceiver. He deceived all the Jews, he deceived all the Christians the last 2,000 years by making us believe that Jesus died on the cross, but it was not really Jesus. It was somebody who looked like Jesus, because Jesus escaped from the window up to the heaven. But the guy who died, he looked like Jesus, and is somebody else. And by the way, Muslims do not know who this person is, as they go in chaos and big circles. Some say he's this person, some he said that he's that person. Many stories you can read about in my new book, Exposing the Truth About the Quran, where we literally have fun to laugh at Muslim scholars, because they are not real scholars. I call them dumbers, even though there's no word in English say dumbers, but I made it up.
Yeah.
But that's a problem. We do not understand how Muslims hear us. I believe if we know our Christian doctrine, why we believe what we believe, and if we know Islam very well, we can easily reach out to the Muslim. Because
so where's the break in the Islamic doctrine? Where's the break for the Christian to enter?
For example, if you talk about the death of Christ, the Quran said Jesus died. This is clear teaching, and there is a series of verses I use in the Quran, like Jesus' own word as a baby. When he was a baby in the Quran, he talked and he said, peace on me the day I was born, the day I will die, and the day I will ascend to heaven. And Muslims say, well, he will come in the end of time and he will die. But you go to another verse in the Quran when God, the God of Muhammad, Allah said to Jesus, I'm about to cause you to die, present tense. But then you go to another verse, like in Quran chapter 5, verse 116, when I caused you to die, past tense. So the Quran said Jesus did die. And the idea is that Jesus will not die because he's a prophet. Well, the Quran said that Jews kill many prophets, or because he's a messenger. The Quran said Jews kill many messengers. So all the excuse which Muslim put for Jesus not to die, it's really a joke. Why? Add more than that. Why Muslims reject Jesus to die for you and I? Because they will tell you nobody will die for anybody else. But at the same time, Allah brought somebody to die instead of Jesus. So if somebody can die for Jesus, why not Jesus die for me? It is. But the more we know about Islam, the more we can reach out to the Muslims. And Muslim believe in so many things about Islam is not true. The idea is that Islam is a loving, peaceful religion. Just 2 Sundays ago, a man from Pakistan, his name is Ahmed, he came attend my meeting, and he said that I took all these verses, I share a good 15 verses or so from the Quran, which clearly teach Islam is a religion, is a cult of hate. And he said, you took all these verses out of context. And I said, okay, can you share with us tonight one verse, just one verse in the Quran, teach love or peace? He could not come up with one. So we can argue as much as we can by our lips, but if you know depth, knowledge, Islam is not a religion of love and peace. And if Muslims know that, then they maybe will start to realize that there's so much other things they do not know truthfully about Islam. And that's how we can lead them to Christ.
All right, two quick things. You name your book again?
We have actually two books. One is the Generous Quran, which is the true, accurate English translation of the Quran. It's extra 100 pages to help reader to understand.
So you're already in trouble by doing that.
Well, absolutely. We have already the fatwa that they will kill me for translating the Quran. Right. And this has been out for 4 years now. Yeah, right. We actually send it to all our senators and our congressmen and our governors and to the High Supreme Justice Court. And so I would love to ask your audience, if they check with your senators, congressmen, and the governor of your state here and ask them, have they read the Generous Quran yet? If not, if they said they don't have it, we'll send them a new copy. And the new book obviously is Exposing the Truth About the Quran, which is the 2 volumes, 830 pages. That's how we went in depth to show all the errors in the stories of the Bible, which Muhammad copied from the Bible and he inserted in his Quran.
All right, you can get those at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. All right, before I take a quick break, Usama is going to be speaking at the Provoke Community Church coming up when?
Sunday morning, I believe. We have 2 services, Sunday morning and Sunday night, a different church.
Right. Okay. And
people can find it on our and online for where I'll be speaking and what place I'm going to be speaking. And your Wednesday still open, by the way. I still have Wednesday open.
Okay. All right. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Paula, and I work at theDove TV. Every day we get letters and emails from people who've been encouraged, blessed, and challenged by the programs on theDove TV. But we couldn't do it without you. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us continue to bring inspiration and hope to our community by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us, or call us at 541-776-5368.
Well, we're back with our very special in-studio guest this time. I have talked to him on the phone, but this time we have him in the studio because he's speaking throughout Southern Oregon, here on the West Coast. Usama Dakdok with us today. He's the founder of the Straight Way Ministries. And by the way, you can go to thestraightway.org. That's his website. And check out his speaking schedule. He'll be speaking in Grants Pass this coming weekend. And he just told me Wednesday night is open. So if you're watching and you have an opening in your church Wednesday night and you want them, what should they do? Call us here and we'll get a hold of you or something like that?
They just go to our website and they can
contact you there?
A meeting or call us directly. Yes.
All right, that's thestraightway.org. So maybe you'd like to get him in your church for Wednesday night. All right, a couple things. Now, you're born in Egypt, raised in a Christian home. How risky was that for your family?
It is hard. It's difficult. Christians have been persecuted in the Middle East, in the 57 Muslim countries, for the last 1,400 years. But the problem is, it's amazing. I can be in some country in the Middle East, and I see the problem there, and I see the bombing or the killing or whatever the Muslims do. And I come to America, and I think that maybe we heard of it. We don't hear about anything. Once in a while, you hear about a bombing in some church. Just, the last 4 weeks or 5 weeks ago, they burned 82 churches in Egypt, including my own home church, the one I grew up until I left Egypt and I came to America. But you may hear about it, they burned some churches, but you don't know how severe is the damage and how great the persecution for Christian in the Muslim world. That's in 57 Muslim countries. Christians are persecuted everywhere, whereas Muslims have majority.
All right, now, if you're successful in leading a Muslim in America, an American Muslim, if we can say that, to Christ, how risky is that for them?
Well, it's very clear. Honor killing is reality in Islam. As a matter of fact, without honor killing, Islam will not exist. If you study the history of Islam, we're assuming that everybody believed in Muhammad and Muhammad days. That's not true. Even Arabs, the Bedouins, if you go to Quran chapter 49 and verse 14, Allah's word in the Quran tells us that Bedouins, the Arabs, said, we believed. And then Allah is correcting them by telling Muhammad, say, you did not believe, but you surrendered, for faith never entered your hearts. So the Arab in Muhammad days did not believe in Muhammad. They surrendered to Muhammad, and that's what the word Muslim means. Muslim means surrender or submit. So Arab did not believe in Muhammad. The foreign countries around Mecca, around Saudi Arabia, did not believe Muhammad. They could not even know what the Quran is talking about. And how Islam exists, the day Muhammad died, many of the Arab Muslims left Islam. As a matter of fact, 5 prophets show up on the day Muhammad dies. 5 people made themselves prophets. And Abu Bakr Siddiq, the first Khalifa, he literally is the one who brought Islam back to existence. Why? This is, by the way, the man whom Muhammad married his daughter, his favorite wife, Aisha. Muhammad was 51 years old when he married Abu Bakr Siddiq's daughter, and she was 6 years old. That's why we say Muhammad is a child molester, because, I'm sorry, his action is give him this title. We're not here to insult Muhammad. Muhammad insulted himself. But Abu Bakr Siddiq began what we call the apostation war. That is when Abu Bakr killed all those who left Islam. And believe it or not, from that day until today, honor killing is real. And honor killing is not a culture as some people try to present it. Honor killing is the teaching of Allah in the Quran, chapter 6 and verse 151, where Allah said, do not kill the soul which Allah forbid, except for a just cause. The soul which Allah forbid to be killed is a Muslim soul, because Allah throughout the Quran allow the killing of any other soul. Wow. As a matter of fact, that's fit with the teaching of the entire Quran and the Hadith. Muhammad said, I have been commanded to engage in war with people until they testify to the fact there is no God but Allah, and I am His messenger. So if you don't believe in Islam, if you don't say the Shahada, then Muslims have the right to kill you. But the Muslim soul cannot be killed except in 3 cases. You go to Sahih Muslim, Muhammad said, the blood of the Muslim cannot be shed except in 3 cases. Murder, that if a Muslim kill a Muslim, not a Jew or a Christian. We are commanded, Muslims are commanded to kill the Jew and the Christian. 9:29, 9:5, and in many verses throughout the Quran. If a Muslim commit adultery, and if the Muslim apostate, the 3rd reason, Muslim must be, his blood must be shed, Muslim must be killed if he or she leave Islam. So you're talking about ministering to the Muslim and they come to Christ, they will be killed by their own father, mother, son, daughter, or the Muslim community.
So what's the civil war all about then? Why are Muslims fighting Muslims? Is it religious based? Is it political based? I mean, it seems like they're violating their own doctrine here.
Well, because Muslim killing Muslims.
Yeah.
But see, if you talk to a Shia, he will tell you Sunni are infidels. If you talk to the Sunnis, they will tell you Shia are infidels. Muhammad, as a matter of fact, said in the Hadith that in the future of Islam, there will be 71 denominations. And all of them are going to go to hell. And only one of them are going to be removed from hell to the paradise. Every Muslim will go to hell in Islam for a while. And then one of them, so 71 denomination alone, this number tell me Muhammad is not a true prophet, because in a country like Indonesia, I've been there twice, there are hundreds of denominations in one country. There are different cults. All it takes is a mufti, some guy to come with issue a new fatwa, a new decree about a new understanding, and he will start a new denomination. But not all Muslims are Muslims. Even Muhammad said there are 70 or so of them. One of them are true Muslims, and the rest are infidels. So you think about it. Shia kills Sunni, Sunni kills Shia. And by the way, that's still the practice of the Quran.
Wow.
If you go to Quran chapter 2, verse 178, Allah said in the Quran, retaliation is decreed for the Muslim. A free man for a free man, a slave for a slave, and a female for a female. And by the way, that's a very barbaric cult. Because if I killed one of your slaves, and I'm a free man and you're a free man, you cannot kill me. You have to pick up one of my slaves and kill him. If I kill your wife, you cannot kill me, but you have the right to kill my wife. If my slave kill you and you're a free man, your family have no right to kill my slave, but they kill me. Very barbaric. And that's why, you see, people always ask me, Brother Usama, why, like last month we have a very terrible month in Iraq, the most violent month in the last 5 years since Obama came to power. And they say, how many Muslims kill Muslim in Iraq? I said, wait a minute, you don't understand. They are retaliating of what happened years ago under Saddam Hussein. The Sunni, which are 20% of Iraq, were in control of the entire country of Iraq. And they did so many bombing and they did so many killing to the poor Shia. So now Shia have power and they can retaliate. That is a teaching of the Quran, chapter 2 and verse 178. So they're not killing out of just for the fun of killing. No, they are getting even with all what the Sunni did to them for years and years under Saddam Hussein.
Well, flipping over to the Bible, and you kind of wonder the Battle of Armageddon and some of the things that are prophesied to happen in the future, and how the Muslim community is so large and the whole world comes against Israel, it seems to me they have to turn on each other and for them to all die the way they're doing.
Well, no, see, but here's another thing we do not know here in America about Islam. In Islam, teach me and my brother against my cousin, and me and my cousin against our enemy. So if you're going to go in war against Israel, you will see a lots of unity among all these Muslims. If you think about the revolution in Egypt.
So that's all right. So you're saying, I've heard that, Israel and of course the United States, but Israel
is
Jews and Christians are the uniting point for all Muslims.
Absolutely.
Okay.
If you think about what happened in Egypt just a few years ago, Iran was supporting Egyptian. Iran is 100% Shia country and supporting the Brotherhood of Egypt, who are 100% Sunni, to take over the country. Because
so why does the world, excuse me, Usama, why does the world put up with this? Why does the world put up with a religion that kills people?
Because the world does not know the truth about Islam. If you talk to average American, even our politician, they will think Islam is a loving, peaceful religion. They will not know that there are hundreds of verses in the Quran which teach hate towards Jews and Christians. Start chapter 1. I mean, literally, when Muslims pray to Allah, they curse Christian and Jews every day 27 times. If you read chapter 1, Allah calls the Jews those whom His anger is against, and Allah in chapter 1 calls the Christians the lost one. Verse 6. So Muslims hate the Jews, hate the Christian. Israel is the small Satan or the small devil. America is a great Satan. And we're doing everything now to help. America is doing everything to help the Muslim in the Middle East to go in war against Israel. And I promise you, the war will not be against Israel. God will protect Israel. We are the one who's going to pay for it, because we're going to be cursed in America simply because we're cursing God's people in Israel. And that's the reality. If you think about the fires here in the West, or the earthquakes, or the hurricane, or the flood, or whatever happened in America, I believe this is a result of what we're doing to Israel.
Let me ask you a really delicate question, because there's obviously a Christian remnant in America who wants to support Israel and the whole state thereof. But this administration has been the most opposing to Israel than we've ever seen in the history of the United States. How do you categorize it? How do you categorize Obama?
I said on your program here, I believe a couple years ago, and I've been saying this almost for 6 years, Obama is a Muslim president who American people do not know. We just have Al-Watani newspaper in Egypt a few weeks ago threatening Obama by telling the world they have documents. They will bring it out to the open. If Obama will not launch war against Syria, where in this document they will prove that Obama is a member of the Brotherhood and his brother Malik Obama in Kenya is a member of Al-Qaeda. American people are so naive. They believe whatever every president tell you. And I'm sad to tell you this, I told you so. 6 years ago, I told the American people, Obama is a Muslim president and you guys have no clue. Look how many Muslims work in the White House, in the Homeland Security, and the FBI, and CIA. The head of CIA, John Brennan, for heaven's sake, is a convert to Islam. Can you imagine just 10 years or 10 and a half years after September 11, you had the head of CIA as a Muslim man and the president of America is a Muslim man. The number of Muslim Brotherhood who work in the White House right now, they cannot work in Egypt. We kicked them out of our country, Egypt. But you American, open your arm, fall in love with all this Muslim Brotherhood, and you bring them to the White House. We have a problem. America need to know the truth about Islam as much as America need to know the truth about Obama. He is a Muslim man who's destroyed this country. So much has been changed in America the last 6 years. And the worst yet is to come in the next 3 years.
Well, I'm trying to catch my breath here. All right, we're going to run out of time. If you want to get a hold of Usama, his website is thestraightway.org. He does have Wednesday night open. Maybe you'd like to get him in your church. You can go there and find out where he is speaking in his time here in the Pacific Northwest. And his books are available at Amazon and at Barnes & Noble. And give us the titles again.
The first book is very important, The Generous Quran. That's how you know what Muslims believe.
Right.
And then exposing the truth about the Quran, which is literally show all the errors in the Quran. 2 volumes, I got 830 pages. Quite a study, quite a read.
Well, you're a passionate inspiration.
God is good.
Thank you. And he loves the Lord, right?
And we love the Muslim too.
Yeah.
We want to see Muslim to come to know Christ. And the only ways he can be saved, if we Christian learn all the truths we can learn about Islam, so we can truly reach out to them.
Thank you, my friend. Blessings on you. We'll see you next time. All right, we'll see you next time on Focus Today.
Hi, I'm Jim and I work at theDove TV. Every weekday between 6 and 8 a.m., our award-winning news and sports team bring you the best morning show around. It's live, it's honest, and it's a whole lot of fun. And you help make it happen. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us continue to air local programs that share your voice by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us.